Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Chief Secretary, Kelvin Charles, addresses to the media.
And today I shall speak to you on a couple of issues relating to our education system. As you are aware, we would have had our results recently. And just to remind you that there were 137 students who scored under 30%. And of that sum, 55 were 12 years and under, and as such, they automatically qualify to resit the examination. And the remainder, 82, close to 14 years of age, and therefore places had to be found for them in secondary schools. What we would have done is that we would have placed those students in two schools: Signal Hill Secondary and Roxborough Secondary. And we would have equally divided the number. The plan in respect of treating with those students, recognizing that they would have performed under 30%, is that we have structured what you may term a flexible curriculum in order to take account of where those students are currently at, and then to work with them to move them as seamlessly as possible through the system. The system is termed a flexible one because the idea is that once they begin to show the relative competencies, they can transition into what you may call a normal secondary track. But in the short term, the emphasis will be on some core subjects and a soft vocational track for these students, because we are trying to ensure that they are not frustrated, because we all know what happens when students of secondary school age, 14, 15, 16, when they are frustrated, they are the ones that are prone to more disciplinary problems. So the intervention that we are engaged in is designed to maximize the learning potential of these students. I can say to you that some of the basic objectives include: one, to incrementally develop the literacy and numeracy capacity of the targeted group of students; to equip trainees or students with the knowledge and skills required to obtain the requisite qualifications in a vocational field of choice; and to initiate dialogue, build collaborations and networks with different stakeholders in an attempt to actively promote equal opportunities for students with literacy and numeracy challenges at our secondary schools. So that in respect of the basic subjects, we are treating with math, English, home economics or / food and nutrition, agricultural science, visual and performing arts, physical education, trades, and moral education. And in respect of the trades, they will be provided with choices, so they will determine and choose between subjects like clothing and textile, beauty culture, masonry, plumbing, electronics, auto mechanics, woodwork, and metalwork. And in respect of the timetable, more emphasis in the short term would be placed on math and English as foundational subjects. Now, we were ahead of the curve in Tobago because we had already arranged what we call a post-C program. And that post-C program was divided into two parts. One, the first part had to do with almost immediately after the C exam. We had the teachers in the schools engage the students who they know or would have thought would be operating below the 30% mark. And therefore we had engaged those students in an attempt to buttress their skills. And that would have been phase one. Phase two was designed for the vacation period, and it began on Monday, and it's going to run for 4 weeks. Again, to reinforce the development of the basic skills of literacy and numeracy, so as to improve the probability and their chances of success at the secondary school. Now, having regard to what has happened at the level of the C examination, we would now add those students. And in fact, we have added those students in the main to this quote-unquote cohort. Some of them would have already been there because of the fact that that was their level of performance, but others, they would be added. So we have a situation where at this time, there is this program that is being undertaken to assist these students. So come September, they will be much better off than if there was no intervention at all. What I can say to you as well is that there would be 2 sets of assessments at the end. An academic assessment so that we determine where they are in respect of their numeracy and literacy skill or competence level, and a psychosocial assessment in order to determine what challenges outside of academic challenges they may have. Now, the reason, of course, is to ensure that as they enter secondary schools, we can treat with whatever challenges exist. So that these assessments, both at the level of the academic and at the level of the psychosocial, will be made available to the schools. Signal Hill Secondary and Roxborough Secondary. So that there is a platform that teachers can use in respect of executing the flexible curriculum for these students. I can say to you that at the end of the program, we are going to have an achievement day. So the media would be invited to that. So you'll get an opportunity to see what the students would have been doing over the 4 weeks and how they and their parents are reacting. I should mention as well that we are also accommodating the Standard 4 students so that they are going to get a head start. So when they get into Standard 5, the head start should do them well. And we propose to continue this program next year, the vacation as well. Now, more fundamentally, come September, we will be reintroducing, as I'd indicated to you on a previous occasion, a developmental program in mathematics and reading in the primary school. And this is all designed to treat at the fundamental level with the challenges that exist. Because as you are aware, if the foundation is weak, then the superstructure will not stand. So we would be reinforcing the basics and the foundation so that at the end of the day, these students are better equipped to enter secondary school. Now, additionally, to let you know what else we are doing in respect of education during the vacation period. Currently, we have 80 persons at Bishop's High School, and these persons represent principals, heads of departments, and deans, engaged in a program entitled Professional Development for Principals. So it's a leadership program. And the duration is 1 week, but what is significant is we're talking 80 persons coming from our secondary schools. It's particularly significant. Principals, deans, heads of departments, so that you can begin to understand the revolution that is taking place in education. And even as I say that, I can advise you that there is dyslexic training. It's being conducted at the Scarborough Methodist School. It will be over a 3 weeks period, and there are 18 teachers involved. So you see, we are covering the gamut of ensuring that our various teachers are exposed to training. And that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. I can also announce that in conjunction with the MIC Institute of Technology, beginning Tuesday, that began on Tuesday, the 11th, we would have launched a TechVoc diploma program in Tobago. And that is being done or executed at the MIC Keenan Technology Center. The program will run for 1 year, and classes will continue at the venue every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the August vacation period. And when school resumes in September, it will be run from 3:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. But we are moving to train teachers in TechVoc education and certain disciplines, because as you may know, there is a dearth of TechVoc teachers in Tobago. And given our emphasis on a flexible curriculum, it is necessary that we provide the teaching resources to facilitate the proper execution or delivery of such a curriculum. There is also, as we speak, a program Leading for Literacy. It's a phonics training program. We have a facilitator out of England. The program began on the 10th of July and is going to run for 1 week. So it ends on the 14th of July. And that program, the venue is the conference room of the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy. And the program, as an initiative, is designed to improve the reading skills of infant 1 and 2 pupils in the primary school system. And this will be done through improved teaching of reading skills of the infant teachers. So we are training 2 infant teachers, those of level 1 and level 2, in 10 schools, along with the principals of those 10 schools. Because the principal will be expected to provide the leadership as well as the guidance and the mentoring required to ensure that the curriculum is executed in the way that it should. And the 10 schools, for those who may be interested: Devines Road Government Primary, Montgomery Government Primary, Pentecostal Light and Life Foundation Primary, Mason Hall Government Primary, Delaford Roman Catholic Primary, Pembroke Anglican Primary, Plymouth Anglican Primary, Moriah Government Primary, Golden Lane Government Primary, and Ebenezer Methodist Primary. So 10 schools, 3 participants per school, so we're talking 30 participants. So again, you begin to understand the revolution that is taking place in education. Fundamental, but at the same time, designed to move Tobago from its stellar position in respect of the education districts of Trinidad and Tobago up the ladder. So I anticipate that within 3 years, we ought not to be talking about Tobago being at the lowest rung of the education ladder in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, in respect of the school repairs program, the intention is to treat with 42 schools, 7 of which are the secondary schools, and 35 are the primary schools. And last year, the program would have utilized 37 contractors. This year, we're hoping to utilize about 100 contractors. Why? Simply, we are saying that we wanted to do a couple of things. One, we wanted to ensure that we provide opportunities for more of our business persons, more of our tradesmen and so on, to be empowered and to improve on their skill levels. Because we are also saying that over time, we will engage MIC to ensure that they are tested and evaluated and provided with the relevant licenses. Yes? You would recall that I would have articulated a position which said that the development of Tobago in the main, at least at the level of the micro, would be on a community development basis, where we're seeking to empower the communities and to get a number of our young persons, etc., involved, so that they can take responsibility for their own development and more so for the earning of income. So that this is the hope. So what we did was to structure the repairs in packages that would allow for a greater level of participation by the contractors, whoever they are. So that consistent with our philosophy, we have taken action to give or bring that, give effect to that, or to bring that into effect. Now, we are anticipating that we would spend $13 million. And in fact, today we would have approved at the Executive Council level the proposal which details the repairs, etc., amounting to that sum. And the repairs cover the range of plumbing, electrical, air conditioning, replacement of doors and windows, painting, and minor construction works, etc. Now, we are hoping that works can begin no later than the 25th of this month. And those works we are anticipating would be completed by the 25th of next month, at which point a thorough evaluation and assessment will begin, and then the contractors can then begin to submit their invoices, which we would then process as quickly as possible. Now, as recent as yesterday, the representatives of the Bridgman Services Group, that is the group responsible for the lease of the 2 vessels that are coming, had meetings with representatives of members of the board and so on of the Port Authority. What I can say to you is that the Cabo Star is due to arrive in Panama no later than the 14th of this month. And my understanding is that passage through the Panama Canal has already been reserved for the 14th of this month, so that all things being equal, the Cabo Star should arrive on the by midnight of the 16th of July. So for safety, let's say the 17th of July, because I suspect 1 minute after midnight is the 17th, right? 17th of July. And in terms of the estimated time to be put into service, the estimated time or time frame is the 23rd, which implies that a week would be used for final touches and trial runs and so forth. Yes? And sailings would generally be between Sundays through Fridays, with Saturdays being reserved in the main. Of course, this is just the policy position. If something, necessitates a travel or something, or a trip, then that can be arranged. But in the main, Saturdays will be reserved for maintenance, ongoing maintenance. Now, in respect of the Ocean Flower Tour, it is estimated to arrive in Panama by the 22nd of July. And Port of Spain by the 25th. Now, my information is that there would have been a delay on the arrival of the Ocean Flower. For one, the fact that there was a 96-hour wait in Russia, because that was required in terms of advance notice. Arguably, therefore, the providers of the vessel ought to have known that, and therefore should have made the necessary arrangements. Clearly, that was not done. What I can say to you is that the information that I have is that the contract has a penalty clause, so that if they don't make up the time that would have been anticipated, that penalty clause can go into effect for every day that the boat doesn't arrive at the time it was scheduled to arrive. And in addition to that, at one point in time, there was a bit of a weather challenge around Japan and so on. And that also delayed the sailing of the Ocean Flower. Now, the port intends to have a stakeholder meeting in Tobago sometime next week. They have to firm up the date and so on, so that the Tobago stakeholders will be apprised of all the details, and then will be in a position to ask the specific questions they may wish to have answered.
We have been told that other vessels were available closer to Trinidad and Tobago instead of Korea. Why? Do you have any information on that? No. As to why these vessels were not chosen and the Ocean Flower was chosen over these vessels?
I don't have any specific information on that, but what I could tell you is that in these situations, you have a set of criteria on which each option would be evaluated, and then the boats would be ranked, so that the issue, so some of the criteria would include specifications, for example. Yeah, because you'd want to know that you could get a boat that can navigate the harbor. You'd want to know that you can get a boat that can provide, let's say, in terms of the cargo vessel, both passenger travel as well as commercial travel, because you would recall that that was one of the sticking points in respect of the current cargo boat that is available. The truckers say that they can't travel, so that, and you're talking about anywhere between like over 100 or so truckers. And therefore you would want to ensure that if you're going to procure a vessel to facilitate that you at least have a vessel that can accommodate those persons wishing to travel with their commercial vehicles. And the information I have is that the Cabo Star can hold between 120 to 130 passengers, along with vessels, yes.
The Tobago Chamber is also saying that the organization was left out of talks in terms of choosing a vessel. Choosing these vessels, they were left out totally out of talks with respect to the Port Authority.
You know, that's interesting, because I have kept my silence deliberately on that issue. But perhaps the time has come for me to speak on it. You may recall that I would have stated right here some of the issues surrounding the Sea Bridge, as we would say in Tobago, early o'clock. Yes? On that same day, we had a meeting among representatives of the THA, the port, the Ministry of Works and Transport, and the Chamber. You guys were there at the end. Yes? I don't know if you recall. Yes. Because we did feel some questions from you. At the meeting, when I recognized how the discussion was going, I suggested that as a solution to go forward, that a small team or committee comprising representatives of the THA, the port, the ministry, and the chamber be composed so that the conversation could have continued. But more importantly, it was designed to ensure, at least that's the way I was thinking, that the chamber would have been intimate in all of the conversation and the discussions, and would have been able to make recommendations, joint recommendations to the board of the Port Authority in respect of choice of vessel, etc., etc. That suggestion was flatly rejected by the chamber.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending July 15th, 2017.